Hello, and thank you very much for 5K. Time to answer some lore questions. I got a lot of questions, so if I didn't answer your question, I'm sorry, and I left you a response in the comments under your comment. Like the video. Couldn't Odin use the ravens to run away from Ragnarok? It's a good question. The answer is he can, but then there will be dire consequences. One, because Asgard is his home and his kingdom, and it would be destroyed, so he would have nothing to rule, really. Two, because that's where the rift is, and the mask, and obviously that's something that he cares about the most, and if he leaves, Asgard would be destroyed, and the rift would be destroyed as well. And possibly most importantly, there is optional dialogue where Freya says that the magic is bound to the earth, which is why Kratos' magic from Greece is gone, because he destroyed Greece. And if Asgard is destroyed, that means that Odin's magic would be gone, so he could use the ravens to escape, but then as soon as Asgard is destroyed, all his magic is gone, the ravens is gone, so he's just an old dude with a stick at that point. So he has way more reasons to defend and protect Asgard rather than just running away and losing everything, essentially. Do you think the Roman Pantheon could exist in the God of War universe? And if they do you think they could be in charge of Greece now post God of War 3? Since the Romans ended up conquering Greece in real history. I believe that in the God of War universe, the Greek and Roman mythologies are the same mythology. Why? Hercules. What is happening? Hercules is the Roman version of Heracles, which is what he's supposed to be called, but his son of Zeus in God of War, so that implies that Hercules and Heracles are the same person, which by extension means that all the Greek gods and all the Greek characters are their Roman counterparts as well. So Zeus is Jupiter, and Minerva is Athena, and Ares is Mars. So I think in the God of War universe, it means that the Greek and Roman pantheons are one and the same. What is your least favorite God of War lore retcon? By far, my least favorite retcon is the evils in God of War 3, because they kind of undermine the whole thing about the Greek gods, because it implies that the Greek gods are not evil because they're just evil, because they're dicks, but because of some magical evils that corrupted them, even though that's really not the case. We know from God of War 1, the story of Pathos Verdes the Third, and how the gods treated him, and we saw the flashback to Zeus. He was always a dick, so the evils being the reasons why the gods are the way they are kind of ruins the whole point. And not to mention the power of hope, and it's an old song, but it is my least favorite retcon, so there's that. Does Kratos even take a bath? No, he just rolls around butt naked in the snow until he thinks he's clean enough. Or I think he does bathe if he has the right company, In a similar vein, does Kratos clean his bald head? Of course he does. He shines it every day in the morning. First thing in the morning, he gets the thing, and it bounces off light to blind enemies, and that's how he killed an entire pantheon. Do you believe Kratos' story has come to an end, or is there still room to expand on his lore traveling to other pantheons? Not to spoil the future videos, but I have written a script about what I think Kratos and the now 8 realms are gonna be like after God of War Ragnarok. And not to spoil very much, I think Kratos' story is not over at all. There is a lot to be explored and said, and I think we're not done with Kratos by any means. What are your thoughts on Atreus going back to Greece to find the giants? I would much rather they explored a new mythology and new gods and new characters than going back. I would prefer to move forward instead of trying to bring back the past. That's what I think. In 2018, Sindri almost mentioned Thrud, although Mimir seemed shocked about Thor having one. How could Sindri know but Mimir not? I have genuinely tried to find where Mimir is shocked that Thrud exists, but I couldn't find it. But logically, I think Thrud was born after Mimir was imprisoned by Odin. She seems to be approximately Atreus' age, maybe a little older, but she's definitely not 110 years or however long Mimir has been stuck in that tree, so it's not really surprising that he doesn't know who she is, because she was born after he became isolated from the world, essentially. Why the hell is Kratos bald? I know, exactly. I asked Eric Williams, he couldn't give me an answer. We still don't know. Oh, there's more. How does Kratos' immortality work? Like, is he immortal when he wants to be, taking a hit from Mjolnir? Is he immortal all the time, or specific types of attacks? How does that work? So, the question of Kratos' immortality is a big one, and one that even Corey doesn't want to answer necessarily. So, I think that Kratos, as it is not immortal. He can age, like we've seen between 3 and 2018, and he is a demigod, so it is very possible that he can die just from injuries or attacks, even though he can regenerate. If you hit him hard enough like Thor did at the beginning of the game, he will die. The reason why he died at the beginning and not at the end of Ragnarok is because he was a little bit out of shape at the start of the game. It's been Fimbulwinter, and then suddenly Thor attacks and he was unprepared for that, but at the end of Ragnarok he's really warmed up after everything that he did throughout that game, and he has regain much more of his old godly power, which allows him to withstand much more damage, essentially. And the only reason the immortality thing really came into play is because he didn't die at the end of God of War 3, but as we know from Fallen God, the reason why he didn't die there is because he was cursed to not die by his own hand. So he can't really do it himself, but others can do it on him, if that makes any sense. Who? What theory did you really think was going to happen but didn't? I really thought we were gonna time travel in Ragnarok. My very first video was about that, and it didn't come true because of the horn and because of the giants that were absent. I thought that there was no way we're not gonna do it, but we obviously didn't. And I'm kind of glad, because time travel makes so many problems. It's really hard not to make it a huge mess, but I'm not ruling out it's still happening in the future. But I really thought we were gonna time travel. What do you think would have happened if Kratos never changed from his old ways? We have an exact answer to that question, and that is he would have died by the hands of Thor, like we saw on the mural. That was his original fate, but because he changed his ways and refused to fight and kill Thor, that's how he changed his fate and survived. But if he never changed his old ways and remained a god killer, he would have died at Ragnarok. Why did Atreus never ask his father why he's white? Does he know the answer? Just because we don't see him ask it doesn't mean that he didn't. He had 3 years between 2018 and Ragnarok to ask the questions, and after Kratos opened up to him at the end of 2018, I'm sure that was one of the first things that Atreus asked. There's actually a small hint to that in Ragnarok when the Norns are testing Kratos and they're kind of torturing his mind. One of the things that Atreus says is, "He killed the planet!" as an argument about why he prefers Odin to Kratos. So I think that implies that he knows and that Kratos told him. Why didn't Kratos suffer the same illness that Atreus suffered? Because Kratos also didn't know that he was a god until Athena revealed it. Oh, but he did.
So the sickness is a manifestation of kind of god puberty happening, right? It is his body trying to almost metamorphose into the next stage, right? But he's resisting it. So the sickness is a manifestation of that kind of, for Kratos, the manifestation was rage. So the human vessel, the god sort of essence together create this sort of furious tornado, right, inside of him.
So, it looks like he has earrings. So, this guy said Kratos did have the illness, but it developed in a different way, and it came out as his rage. I personally think that in Ghost of Sparta specifically, when he essentially finds out that his father is a god from his mother, that mega rage that he goes into at the end of the game is one of the signs of his sickness, because he is uncertain of what's going on with his father. He's probably pretty sure that his father is a god, and so his internal conflict develops in this mega rage that helps him kill Thanatos and also Demas' death, obviously. Basically, Kratos did have the sickness, but it just developed in a very different Kratos-like way. And I mean, we see it with Atreus as well. When he goes Spartan Rage, he has similar tendencies with his sickness. Thank you, Corey, for helping out with this question. The man himself, Extreme Gameplays. Who blew the horn? Who blew it? I can tell you one thing for sure. Your mom blew my horn. That's how she did it. In God of War Ragnarok, one of the giant souls got put in a big snake in Gryla's house. So my question is, who blew the horn? You son of a bitch. If you're implying that whoever blew the horn is related to Gryla or something, I don't think so. I'm not sure. Why did the Utengard bring Atreus back to the moment where he killed Modi? He's of course referring to the dream that Atreus has before Ironwood, and I like this question so much that I'm probably gonna end up doing a whole separate video about that scene and that dream. I think it's supposed to show how terrible Atreus was in that moment. Modern day Atreus relives that moment from Modi's perspective, and we see how much of a monster the young Atreus became when he became obsessed with his divine power and completely disregarded any sort of life, even one of a defenseless god. And I think it's supposed to represent Odin, because Odin is the one who has no regard for human life and is obsessed with divine power. So it's essentially a warning from the giants to Atreus about Odin and not to step on that path again that he briefly went on in 2018. But I'll talk about it more when I make the video. Thank you for inspiring it, by the way. Why didn't Freya reanimate Baldur's head? I like how you're implying that she needs to chop his head off to revive him, even though his whole body is there. Roll the clip.
She's probably in there planning your demise, brother.
Or bringing Baldur back to life, like she did you, Mimir.
Oh, I'm not alive, lad. I'm reanimated, sure, but make no mistake, I'm still quite dead. I'll never be what I once was. She won't want this for her son. Trust me.
And that's it. That's all the questions. Thank you again very much for 5,000. Like I said in my New Year's post thing, I really didn't expect the channel to go to the length that it did in such a short time. I mean, it's not even been a year and we're already at 5,000 subs, and I've been able to do things that I couldn't perceive I would be able to do. All the potential goals I could have, even though I didn't really have any, I essentially achieved already. So now I have cool ideas and I am making fun videos, and I hope you like them and continue to like them. And that's really all this channel was always about. So thank you so much for being here, for watching this far, and for not clicking away during my sentimental rambling segment. I have a lot of ideas. There's a lot to be done potentially. So I hope you stick around and enjoy whatever shenanigans I get myself and you into. Cable. Next. Why am I even wearing headphones? I'm not listening to anything. Thank you for watching and see you next time.